Now, before jumping into the next part, that is type of inheritance, I just wanted to solve some interesting problems. So let's try to solve one, two problems in this so that you are well versed with inheritance, and then only we will jump into types of inheritance. So let's take one more example. Example 3. Example 3. Let's create out some new cells for this, some empty cells again, and then let's write out. So let's create a class parent, and now we are going to try to add everything into this. So let's create parent. Let's have an attribute into this. Let's take 10 in this case, and then we have an init block. Inside of init block, I'm going to give a reference to itself and just going to say that print object of parent class created. Okay, so that's acting, that acts as an constructor def. Now let's give a parent method. Let's give a reference to itself, self, and let's call print method called. So not much of an operation over here, and then let's set attribute, again small s, and inside of this let's write parent dot parent attr is equal to attr. So what is this? This is what exactly the, by default the parent attribute is 10, but whatever the user gives, if the user wants to change it, then he is able to change it just by this. So set attribute will change it out. So parent dot parent attr is equal to small attr. Okay, let's create one more, that is get attribute, and what it will do is it will show me the value of the parent attribute value. So parent attribute is equal to, and let's write this in f string. Let's call this as parent with a capital P, parent dot small p parent attr. That is the variable name, and it will display me just off. So first part is already created, that is class parent is created. Let's create a class get class child. Okay, let's name this as child. It is getting inherited from parent, and then let's create def init, again self, not much to do over here, and let's call print let's write child class initiated. Okay, two things are done. Let's create def child method, and let's tell this or print it out as, let's print it out as child method. That's it, not some very big. Okay, so everything is fine, I guess. So let's create an object for this. C equals to child class has been initiated. Now let's call child method c dot child method. Child method has also been called out. Let's take this from parent method, in this parent method, so method is also called out. Let's take again the next thing, that is get attribute. First of all, get attr parent attribute parent dot parent attribute. So I guess Over here it should be in this. Now let's check it out. Let's call out the function over here. Yeah, now it's just fine. So get attribute is initially 10. Let's set it to c dot set attr, that is set attribute to 20. And now let's copy this out and paste it out over here. So now it's 20. So that's one more interesting problem that we just solved out in this. So now before ending this video, let's look into one more problem. Let's take into example 4. That will be the last example. So example 4, let's create again class person. Inside of this, again, I'm gonna initialize a def init block with a self name. Let's name this def init self and let's name it as name. Now this is done. Let's write self dot name is equal to name. Now again, let's create def get name self and let's return the value over here. Return self dot name. That's it. Let's create one more function, def is employee. Let's give a reference to itself self and let's return it as false as for now. Return false. That's it. So that's how I've created. Now if the person is from class, if the object is from class person, then it will just return false. But if it is from class employee that is getting inherited from person, then def is employee will return true. That's it. So let's create p equal to person. Let's create emp equals to person. I'm going to name this as Paul. Successfully I have created. Let's write emp dot get name. So I'm getting Paul. If I check emp dot is employee, it will return false. Now let's create it out for this. So let's create emp2 is equal to employee. Let's create Rohit. Okay, now let's check emp2 dot is employee. It is gonna return true. That's how some of the tricks on how you can use class and objects in using inheritance, how all of these are much more useful. I hope all of these are making sense. And that's it for inheritance. Now we are going to look into the different types or different forms of inheritance from our next video. So let's hop on to our next video.